Hi, I'm Alan Hedblum. Welcome to our show, a place to feel like you belong. During the course of our conversation, you'll see words and phrases appearing at the bottom of the screen. These will be explained later in a follow-up segment called What'd You Say? For now, let's welcome today's guest, Amer Zahr. Our guest, Amer Zahr, is America's funniest and smartest Arab. Although he has earned a bachelor's, master's, and law degree from the University of Michigan, he remains a huge disappointment to his parents. This is because he didn't become a doctor. Instead, he works as a comedian, author, and speaker across North America and the Middle East. Amer, welcome to Feel Like You Belong.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Alan.
You bet. So now you spend your days and evenings making people laugh. Do your parents get what you do?
They're starting to come around. It was a process in the beginning. They thought it was a phase, but now that I'm starting to get invited, now that I'm starting to get invited around the world and perform places, I think they're starting to grasp that it's my profession. My mom still asks me how much I'm getting paid for every event that I do and whether they're putting me in a nice hotel or anything like that. But I think now it's become pretty accepted that I'm a comedian and this is what I do.
So the typical immigrant parent has the expectation that his or her child will become a doctor, will become an engineer. Why is that?
Well, because, immigrants, a lot of immigrants and Arab immigrants especially, see their stop here in America as temporary. They're here to do well, get an education, make money, but they always dream of going back and becoming a doctor and engineer. You can move that anywhere in the world. Becoming anything else kind of gets you stuck where you are. And so, other than the fact that these are prestigious professions, every Arab mom likes to call her son a doctor if she can. I've had some Arab moms who tell me that their son is a doctor, and then I ask them what's their specialty, and they say, well, they don't have a specialty yet. And I say, okay, well, then where does he go to medical school? And she says, well, he doesn't go to medical school yet, but he's 7, but he's going to be a doctor one day. But in any case, that's why those things, that not only are they socially prestigious, but they're also transferable to anywhere in the world. And immigrants always have this idea that they're going to end up one day in their homeland.
Mm-hmm. We were talking earlier about how, in particular, Palestinian immigrants seem to be overachievers. Now, your dad, for example, is a PhD chemist. Does this run in your family? People with advanced degrees and high aspirations?
Well, I mean, when you come from an immigrant family where your dad grew up in a refugee camp and had nothing his whole life, and he went and got a PhD, and you grow up with all the spoils of American life, there's no way you can do any less. I mean, you can't just go get an associate's degree and think everything's going to be okay. So everyone in our family has gotten pretty educated because those were things, obviously, that my parents both valued. My mom and dad are both college graduates, not just my dad. So, but Palestinians also tend to do pretty well, I've always said, because we don't have a plan B. Yeah, Palestinians especially, we don't have the option to kind of mess up where we're at and go back to our country. It doesn't work like that for us. So we make it work. We're always very successful. And I think Bill Clinton even said one time that he's never met an unsuccessful Palestinian. And that's the way it works for us. We end up doing well because for us, we know that everything can kind of be taken away wherever. So education is the only thing that we have to kind of hold on to and to take with us wherever we go. So we know that our brains and our minds are our greatest asset. Everybody in my family has gotten very educated. Everybody's extremely intelligent because we know, again, that is what the one asset that can take us very far in this world.
Yeah, no slacking allowed in the Zahr family.
No.
Yeah, sure. Sure. So when we were talking earlier about your moving to a suburb of Philadelphia and growing up in a very small town, you were one of only three non-white kids at your school. Talk about that and what that was like growing up and going to school there.
Yeah, well, I mean, where I grew up, it was outside of Philadelphia. It was a small suburb community. It wasn't really out in the country or anything, but it was a nice little white suburb. And I graduated with 150 people in my class, and there was only three of us that were not white, 147 white people, and me and a black kid and an Indian kid, and one other half black girl, so three and a half of us. And we were actually friends. We were close, kind of because we understood each other. We got it. But it wasn't I wouldn't call it like a difficult place to grow up, or there wasn't a lot of discrimination. We fit in, people accepted us, but it was clear that it was different. And in that sense, it was different in an exotic way, not in any sort of social or political way necessarily all the time. But we knew definitely that we were different.
And that was, I think, impressed on you particularly when you were running for class president in seventh grade.
Yeah, I decided I wanted to run for class president, and my father was very excited. We made 500 photocopies of my face. We put it all around the school. There was only 100 people in the school, but it didn't matter. And I put them all up, and that night, America bombed Iraq. And I came into school the next day, and somebody had written on one of my faces, "Go home, terrorist." And I was very upset, and I took it to my favorite teacher, and I said, "What are you going to do about this?" And she looked at me, and she told me that there was nothing they were going to do. And that's when I realized that we are different in a different way than anyone else is different. We Arabs are different in a different way. Because if I was Latino, there would have been a seminar the next day. Or if I was black, Al Sharpton would have been at my school the next day. But I was an Arab, so everything was okay. And that's still the way it is today, where being discriminatory or bigoted against Arabs is just accepted as that's the way it is, and it's fashionable. And nobody loses their job, and nobody gets put out of office. And in fact, for many politicians, they gain political points for it. So Herman Cain says that he's not going to have any Muslims in his cabinet, and he gains political points. John McCain, when he's running for president in 2008, a woman at a rally says that she's not voting for Barack Obama because he's an Arab, and John McCain grabs the microphone and says, "No, ma'am, he's not an Arab, he's a decent family man." Barack Obama has to go around all the time denying that he's a Muslim instead of anybody saying, so what if he were? So that's the discourse in America. It's okay to be discriminatory against Arabs. It's very fashionable. And so this is the world that we live in. That was my first encounter with it. Up until then, being Arab was exotic. It was a little different. We ate a lot of garlic, but it wasn't anything that I saw that other people saw as threatening. But now I know that that's the case, and I know that that's the world that we live in. And so this is the kind of thing that we're fighting against every day.
And the old model in the United States was try to assimilate, try to fit in, try to prove that you were white. And 100 years ago, there were Supreme Court cases where first a Japanese American and then an Indian American, a subcontinental Indian American, tried to take their case to the Supreme Court, proving that they were white. Both got denied for various reasons. So it was clearly, we need to get our whiteness on, we need to get the stamp of approval and get our piece of the pie. And today there's much more understanding of we don't need to fit in, we need to embrace who we are. But all of a sudden, the Arab population of the U.S. is being labeled as white, and you're saying, no, we don't want that.
It was in the beginning times of this country that whiteness was how you got in. That was how you got accepted, and legally that was how you gained naturalization. But things have changed dramatically where the country is much more racialized, and now the census form puts out census forms with boxes for every race and every ethnicity to say who they are. Arabs are the only ones who are not recognized in these boxes, and in fact, legally we're white. And making a documentary now called We're Not White. We are just different. We're a different group of people, and we need to have the same protections as every minority in America, because in a world and in a society where we are highly and vastly discriminated against all the time, we need to be seen as a minority and not seen as part of white society, because we're not. And white people definitely don't think we're white. So we need to move along and move forward in this way. And that's a major struggle, especially in a society that doesn't want to let you in, even into society. Forget about the racial parts of it. Arabs are still seen as foreign and still seen as a threat. And this is a major problem that we're trying to fight against. And so we need a box on the census form so that we can be seen by our government as a minority, so they can tell us you belong, and so that we can really look into the eyes of other Americans and say, we're just like you, we're not different. And as Americans, we're different as a minority, so we want to be seen that way. And so there's a lot of things that we need to deal with in American society with non-Arabs, and a lot of things we need to deal with ourselves to come a lot more, I guess, comfortable with our identity, instead of trying to fit into white society, which is never going to happen.
Sure.
So we need to really move forward in that way.
What are the benefits to having your own box?
Well, you get seen legally as a minority. You can get small business minority loans. It's much easier to document hate crimes. It's much easier. Basically, let me put it like this. We know what the tools are that other minorities have in their toolbox. As we Arabs, we don't have that right now. And just the mere exercise of being counted. Right now, the American government has absolutely no idea how many Arabs there are in America. And you would think that they'd want to know, right? But they have no idea. And we have no idea. And so it affects our political power very drastically, where if a congressman says something dumb about Arabs or Muslims, which they do all the time, nobody can ever walk up to them and say, well, hey, Peter King, maybe you shouldn't say that because you have 30,000 Arabs living in your district. But right now, we're just folded in with the white population. So you go to a place like Dearborn, which has Arabic writing on every restaurant everywhere, Arabic food everywhere. You could live in Dearborn your whole life and never speak English. And the United States government says that Dearborn is 95% white. So being not counted turns you invisible in a way. For us, since we're socially and political, maybe the most visible group in America, and being legally invisible is really absurd.
Sure. So how do our viewers keep in touch with you, and how do they find out about your movie?
Well, my website is, hopefully you'll put it on the screen. My website is amerzahr.com, AMERZAHR.com. To make people feel good, I always say you spell my name Amer like America. And you can go to my website. You can also find me through my name on Facebook and Twitter and every social media outlet. Also, you can search on YouTube and Facebook for We're Not White to find out more information about the documentary. And I also write a blog at civilarab.com, C-I-V-I-L, Arab, like the good, nice Arab, which I'm definitely not, civilarab.com, where I blog about political and social issues with a little humor every now and then. And I also recently wrote a book called Being Palestinian Makes Me Smile, which is available on Amazon in a Kindle format and a hardcover format. So I'm all over the place. It's very easy to find me. And I really look forward to people's feedback, and I'm always available to talk. I really love interacting with people.
Well, you're a very funny guy. Your humor is very infectious. So I know that our viewers, when they go online to find some of your humor, they can get drawn in by, I think, your humanity. And then maybe they'll stick around and listen to your message about, let's get some equity going here in this country. So I so appreciate the work that you're doing, and huge fans here in Grand Rapids. So keep up the good work, and we'll be cheering for you.
Thank you so much, Alan.
You betcha. And for our folks back home, please stay tuned for our follow-up segment called What'd You Say? Plan B. This means having an alternative in case your first plan doesn't work out. Now, in this case, Amer was talking about Palestinian refugees who leave their country, really don't have the option of returning if the country they move to doesn't work out. You heard me say slacking. This means relaxing, taking it easy, avoiding doing your job fully. Now, if there were other expressions that you heard during our conversation with Amer that maybe you didn't understand fully, you can visit our webpage called What'd You Say? For those explanations. The world of children's games turned upside down this week in the United States when it was discovered that the national game of Duck, Duck, Goose is not played the same across the entire country. According to an article in BuzzFeed.com, one location, the north central state of Minnesota, has been saying duck, duck, gray duck with their children. For those viewers who are not familiar, Duck, Duck, Goose is a long-standing school game where all the participant children sit on the ground facing into a circle, and then a lone person who's designated as it stands outside of the circle. And then he or she walks counterclockwise around the circle, tapping each sitting person on the head or back. Now, as the tapper touches each person, he or she says, duck. So one or two children may be tapped with duck, or perhaps many in a row. But at one point, the tapper taps one person and says, goose. And then the tap person has to jump up and chase the tapper around the circle and try to catch him or her before he or she reaches the empty spot that was just vacated. For American children, the game is great exercise and filled with suspense about who will get chosen for the chase. So now let's get back to the story. One Minnesotan named Christopher Pollard heard that the rest of the country was saying his state wasn't playing the game right. So he posted to his blog a defense of Minnesota's playgrounds. Christopher is trying to show the rest of the country how their version of the game is actually better. He may have a point. Instead of saying just duck, 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 etc., Minnesota kids have to name different colors. So, for example, red duck, brown duck, yellow duck, green duck, etc., before shouting gray duck and then starting the wild chase around the circle. So now, if you're trying to teach your kids a classic American game, you might want to introduce this new twist to their playtime. While they're running around, they'll also be practicing their colors. And that's what's up this week.
Okay, sir, we have completed your reservation. Are you ready for your confirmation number?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, it's gonna be A as in apple,
Okay.
B as in Peter,
What?
B as in Peter.
You mean B as in boy?
No, I mean B as in Peter, not B as in boy. I said B, not B.
Huh?
I said B, not B.
Okay, whatever.
Then it's going to be the letter O as in the occupation of the Palestinian people.
What? Excuse me?
Okay, then it's gonna be the letter H.
What was that?
H, H,
As in Etch-a-Sketch?
H, H as in Harry. H.
Oh, H.
Yeah, H,
H.
H,
H.
H.
Fine.
Okay. Then finally gonna be the number 6.
What the hell?
The number 6.
Sir, I cannot understand anything that you are telling me.
6. Walak, 6. Or what you're saying I can't count? 6, 6. Fine, you want me to count? I'll count to 100 for you, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Okay? I can count to fucking 100.
All right, sir. No need to.
Well, you know, I can count, okay?
All right. I got it.
Okay. Would you like me to repeat that for you?